To another episode of Kaiju and Art Streaming, the the red-headed younger brother of both Livestream of Consciousness and Night Owling. So, and I'm kind of happy with this endeavor because it means that I can pretty much do this show whenever I want, just stick to more or less one subject. But tonight we have a bit of a special guest star coming in. Here's a little hint. His first name is Kaiju. His last name is Noir. So, if you put that together, it's Andres Perez. Damn it, I ruined the surprise. Oh man, I am a horrible person. Everything I do turns to golden crap. So, and no, actually, everything I touch is actually pretty interesting. So, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, hold on, let me get myself in there. All right, there we go. Hello, everybody. I'm here in the creepy Monster Island woods, or Monster Planet woods, if we want to be a little more creative. And let me get our little Photoshop thing ready. Okay, there we go. All right, so hopefully this new format I'm using is going to work out. I'm still using OBS, but I did it in such a way that we got a better picture here. Now, Andres is going to run a little late, but he is going to come in later. Let's see who we have in the chat. We have Shay. He says, how it's going, Raph? Everything is doing pretty well. And we got Brayton. Okay, no, Brayton, no disco duck for now. So, Doomzilla's in the chat. Hey there, Doomzilla. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was going to do a thing where I was going to do the art stream. And then I was going to head on to Twitch and do a movie marathon featuring a couple of Super Sentai related things. But I keep forgetting the vast majority of my audience and friends are stuck in the Central Time Zone, aka Middle America, with all the Aztecs and serpentine sacrifices. So I think it's a lot better if I hold off on that side of tonight's stream and just do artwork and talk mainly about Super Sentai and Power Rangers, mainly Power Rangers, because my knowledge of Super Sentai, it's there, but it's not really, as informative as my experiences with Ultraman or Godzilla. So, and take one moment, I am going to take a very big cough. So, hold on. Okay, I use the mute button because I am not going to give Brayton the satisfaction of me going on camera, so. Okay, sorry about that. Why am I starting so salty? Is it because I'm Hispanic? Oh no. Alright, Alright, Doomzilla says yellow, yellow, yellow. Okay, that's play on hello. Blue, blue, something violet. Okay. Yo Shay again says Doomzilla. Alright. My knowledge of Sentai is as clear as mud. That's okay, Doomzilla. If you have any questions for tonight, we'll be more than happy to answer it. But yeah, tonight we are pretty much. Oh, wait a minute. Oopsie doopsie. Okay, I forgot to get the main title card up here. So yeah, let me see what I can do here. Alright. PR. Con card. Okay. For the most part, though, I'm just gonna kind of take it easy and just have some nice art. Just do some nice artwork while we talk tonight. I'm not gonna go too crazy with the images, but at the very least, I can paste this one and then share it with all you guys. So this weekend in Pasadena, which is in the Los Angeles area, there is going to be Power Morphicon, which is basically a Power Ranger based convention. There's some elements of Japanese superheroes, but that's usually saved for Japan World Heroes, which is a kind of more Japanese kaiju centric convention that switches out with Power Morphicon, because Power Morphicon and Japan World Heroes are more or less run by the exact same people. So, and this was a neat little announcement card I made, reincorporating a bunch of past elements and doing that whole Pachimon style photo bashing. And the reason we're doing this show is because I was very fortunate to get a pass to go to Power Morphicon at the last minute, thanks to Mark Tucker, who will be running a table at, I believe, table 801, although I will definitely be looking up Actually, no, it might be another number. Let me double check that later. But sharing that table with Mark Rivers, aka the Crimson Roommate, will be Andres Perez, and Andres is going to be selling physical copies of Draco Azul along with some of those other books. Hopefully, the table is big enough for the both of them. But yeah, they will be selling the table. I will just be the third man hanging out there. I plan on not selling a single thing there based on my own experiences. Plus, I really have nothing of significance to sell. But yeah, we'll talk more about when the time comes. But yeah, let me get into the artwork because I'm not going to panic too much. But I'm going to say something right off the bat. It has been a ridiculously good year for giant monsters. So much so that even major profiled movies, or at least films that seem to have a large following in the fan community that isn't usually connected to giant monsters, suddenly has like a surprise giant monster element in them. So, and it's been a couple of weeks since the movie came out, so I'm going to spoil something major about Nope. Now's your time to run away. No? Okay. And that turned out to be a secret giant monster movie in disguise. With the titular UFO taking a lot of cues from the cryptozoology phenomenon of biological flying saucers. aka flying saucers that are actually living creatures as opposed to just a machine piloted by aliens. So, yeah, Doomsville, I heard about Disney is tackling King Kong. Probably for the best, because considering what the hell is happening over at HBO Max, I think the MonsterVerse did the smart move and went to other streaming services, because it is a relative shit show over there. Unfortunately, people seem less concerned about it due to various reasons I don't want to get into. But yeah, it looks like we might be getting a new King Kong series. Although I know that, aren't we still supposed to be getting an animated one from Netflix soon? So, okay, hold on, another cough coming. Okay, so, yeah, sorry about that. I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of coughs throughout the night. But it looks like our guest has come in a little earlier than expected. And since he hasn't been here for a long while and we want to give him the full big welcome back, let me get his theme music ready. So where is it? Music, Brayton Andres entrance song. Okay. Come up.
This powerful ally, Robot Man.
You know them robos. I'm back!
I'm in love with a robot man.
Robot Man.
A very special robot man.
Really?
I switch him on each night and day.
Yay!
It's such a thrill to hear him say.
You can check out my indie comic series,
Primal Warrior, available on Amazon. You can get it on Anthology, physical copies available on Kindle, Comixology, and Staple Bell.
Hello, Mr. Andres Perez. Welcome to the night show.
I came into this stream and the first thing I heard was you coughing your lungs out. I feel so welcome.
Welcome to my show. Here's some phlegm for you.
I see nothing has changed since I was last here.
Yeah, so
now I want to go home.
But you are home.
Oh yeah, that's right. I am home.
Yeah, that's the big news on your end. You are officially back in America. So, do you want to tell people the harrowing story of your? Oh, wait a minute. That's right. I got a corresponding image I should share at the same time. Hold on.
Oh God, what did you do?
Oh, you've probably seen this, but if you don't remember it, you're gonna get a little bit of a cute laugh. It's another one of those silly things I made. Okay, there we go. It's hold on, I'll share a screen so you can see what I'm seeing while I do the artwork. So, boop, 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 boop. Oh, hold on.
Do you see what I see?
That's the thing I love about you and Brayton, the improv singing. So, I don't get that from the other guests. So, we'll win occasionally, but.
How do you do? La da 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 da. Fine. How do you do? La da 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 da.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay, sorry. You just had me like fighting off Tengu warriors.
Exactly. So
As I was trying to make my escape so I can jump into the ocean and swim across the Pacific in order to get back home.
oh, just like the characters of the live action Popeye movies.
Well, blow me down.
Right, you fought the Octophantom on the way there too. Gezora is a more popular character, but but yeah, this is another silly little bitmap picture I quickly drew up. So, but yeah, there you go. That's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna.
Is it though? Because that doesn't look like fun to me.
Fighting all those Tingle warriors. So
I fight to the finish because I eat me spinach. I'm Andres the Mega Man.
But yeah, it was but no, welcome back to America. Of course, that means now that you're back in America, you don't have as much free time as you used to when you hit in Japan. But
technically I have all the free time because I just been chilling out the last couple of months, attending conventions here and there, one of which we'll be talking very soon.
Oh, excellent.
And finished up my novel that I co-wrote with Matt Denian, Atomic Rex Ballad of Bravura, a crossover between the Atomic Rex series and my brand new IP, Bravura, the Wandering Soldier. And aside from that, just been like taking it all in, enjoying life back in the US, being able to enjoy all the things that I once took for granted, and at the moment still currently looking for a new job and seeing where that could take me.
Okay, all the best to you on the job thing, because I know how hard it is these days. Although to play to not to quote certain weeboos that have bothered us in the past, aren't you sad you're no longer in magical Japan? Woo!
Fuck you for all of those who are like, oh, you shouldn't be upset because you're in Japan. You're in the land of milk and anime. Fuck all of you.
Milk and cutie honey.
Fuck every single one of you goddamn weebs.
Right, and speaking of weebs, we got JF in the chat. And Brayton, he's the biggest weeb of all. Of course. Yes, we know how much you love your Fooly Coolies. So I can't think of any other anime that would be embarrassing. So, Love Hina. Yeah, I think Brayton would be a Love Hina fan. So, Health Invader. Hey, welcome, dude. Welcome to the chat. He says, hello, Crimson Weirdo. Health here. What's up? Well, we got the voice of Tom Servo from the Mystery Science Theater fan films. So, say hello, Tom Servo.
I'm huge.
Who cares?
I am not a happy camper.
Indeed. So, yeah, you do a great job on that voice, by the way. So,
Thank you.
No, tonight, though, we are going to focus on one major subject, and that's our experience with Power Rangers, and maybe to a lesser extent Super Sentai, as well as talking about the upcoming convention. Because here on the Kaiju and Art Stream show, while I do artwork, tonight's subject I'm working on is my take on Itasis, the giant Sphinx girl from Power Rangers Mystic Force, aka another one of the monsters I fall in love with because I'm a freak. But this one, you take home the mother. Okay. And
I like that Brayton responded, Fooly Cooley was my inoffensive 90s teen rapper name.
Oh, Brayton, that's actually a good one. I'm glad Andres caught that one. So
I can already imagine him being on like a VHS tape that would later be on the Wheel of the Worst for Red Letter Media.
This film is just horrible. I don't even know why this Canadian kid thought he could be black. I agree. I'm here too.
Very cool. Very
cool. All right, we also have Daniel Ramsey. Hey, Daniel Ramsey. So it's ironic that we have somebody who sounds Egyptian, and I'm about to draw an Egyptian giant monster lady. So. Okay, so that's
and we also got Laura in the chat. She previously said, "Lol, it's so busy, not working, and having this hot robot summer."
Right. So somebody had this very funny little thing. Goji Shay says, "Have you enjoyed being able to have pork rinds whenever you want, Andres?"
Yes, all the pork rinds I can ever want, all the Pop Tarts I can ever want, all of the cinnamon toast crunch cereal I could ever want, all the slushies I could ever want, all of the Taco Bell and Autobata tacos I can ever want. Everything I can ever want is here.
And in giant unhealthy portions.
Indeed, yes. I forgot just how much food they give you. Interestingly, in the time since I was last here in the U.S., there were a lot of Popeyes restaurants just like all popping up all over San Diego, and so I never tried Popeyes until I came back recently. So I was like, oh wow, now I see why everyone was like hyping up Popeyes as like this big competitor to KFC and Chick-fil-A. But we still don't have that many Chick-fil-A's in this area.
That's okay. It's kind of an overrated sandwich, and I say that even before I knew about the racism and homophobia.
Now there were two things that did caught me by surprise the moment I came back here, food-wise, and this is stuff that I found at every convenience store. One was, I think it was like cinnamon toast crunch flavored popcorn, and I was like, hold up. There's cereal flavored popcorn? And the second thing I saw was flaming hot Mountain Dew. Now, me being a fan of Mountain Dew, which is another thing that I was able to enjoy again, I tried flaming hot Mountain Dew, and it was like the weirdest thing I've ever drank, because it's like it's got an okay flavor for like 2 seconds, but then the moment you swallow it, it's like swallowing liquid cinnamon. That's what it's like. I do not recommend flaming hot Mountain Dew. It's like one of those like ridiculous, like weird, bizarro things they did. That's weird for the sake of being weird, so that people can check it out.
Yeah. So, there, the artwork's done. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let me. But yeah. Go on.
Also, Laura says the lack of slushies in Japan is sad and confusing. I definitely agree. Health Invader says, by the way, guys, I'm trying to add a movie riffing series pilot inspired by You Are Here, Joel's original idea for a movie riffing series, which would have taken place in a post-apocalyptic world. Cool. Good luck. Best of luck with that, Heath Invader.
Yes, indeed. Heath Invader. We've been saying it wrong this whole time, so feel bad,
What do you mean,
Brayton.
we? What's this we shit?
Yeah, that's right.
What do you mean, Brayton?
No,
do I look like a skinny, like blonde Canadian to you?
The aggressive Hispanic abuse. How I missed it.
I'll show you fucking abuse.
No.
And,
okay, sorry.
Shay says the closest Popeyes just recently closed down, unfortunately. Doomzilla says cereal popcorn. What? Brayton said the post-apocalypse is a very timely Heath. That'd be gold. Laura says, I had a part once who got a bone, a PT, I'm not sure what a PT is, once who got a bone from a Popeye's sandwich stuck in his lung from eating it too fast. Jesus.
Damn it. So,
let's see. Heath Invader says the host segments are done in terms of writing, but riffing is still in progress. Cool. And I guess Brain is commenting on your edit of the art, saying, is that your Chuck Brown-esque take on Pikachu?
Oh my god, now that you mention it, she does look a little bit like Pikachu, doesn't she? Oh, that is so sad. So no, she's a take on an Egyptian Sphinx. So, but yeah, okay, now I see it. That is a little silly. So.
And Laura corrected herself by saying patient. She had a patient who had a bone from a Popeye's chicken sandwich stuck in his lung from eating it too fast. That is insane.
Yeah, God. I hope he's okay. So, or he still has the chicken bone in his lungs. So
they say it's still there to this very day, Raph.
Oh my goodness. So, and speaking of horrific urban legends come to life, Power Morphicon. So,
oh my god.
Yes. So, what's your thoughts on attending this weekend with Mark Rivers and me?
First off, I'm terrified, not by the convention, but by other things.
Nice.
Uh, but in terms of the convention itself, I am very much so excited, um, because this is actually going to be not only my first Californian convention that I'm attending outside of San Diego Comic Con, which was a convention I went to almost every year from like 2009 all the way to like 2014 or 15, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also going to be my very first convention in my very first my California convention ever to sell my comics at. So it's going to be really interesting to enjoy that Californian crowd. Although, I guess from your experience, is Power Morphicon mostly attended by locals, or is it a thing that where it's like G Fest, where people from all over the country go to see?
From my experience, it's definitely more local. So, because I don't think from the various years I've gone there with and without Andres, there never was a major hint of, or even people who were from out of state talking about being in a local hotel. There's exception to the rules, but for the most part, it is a wide variety of locals. So,
Well,
and
speaking of people from out of state, guess who's in the chat?
hey, it's
that
Matt.
that you may have seen at Power Morphicon or Japan World Heroes.
I remember, yeah, Matt. I saw you once at Japan World Heroes. That was a really cool day. Although, yeah, the long drive between here and all the way to Arizona, it's like holy shit, just for a dumb monster convention.
And so I guess I gotta ask you, just for the sake of the audience, what was your what year did you first attend Power Morphicon?
Oh my god, I can't give you an exact date because that information is withheld. But I was actually at the very first Power Morphicon when it happened. Holy shit, that was a long time ago.
1876.
Exactly. Yes, Needle Nose, the cactus monster, was attacking the convention center, and the White Stranger had to save us. That was an actual episode of Power Rangers when we went back to the old cowboy times. So.
And Matt brought up that was Monster Palooza, as he had never been to a Japan World Heroes.
Oh yeah, that's Monster Palooza? Okay, no, that's right. Monster Palooza was being held in the Pasadena Convention Center one year. That explains why they were able to secure the bigger theater next door to the convention center, and that's where Legendary had an official Godzilla panel. Okay, you're right. Thank you, Matt, for correcting me there. But yeah, let me check what year the very first Power Morphicon is, because that's a story. So, but yeah, no, Matt, thank you for coming in and checking us out. It makes my little dog and pony show feel legit. So. Okay, very first Power Morphicon. When was that held? That doesn't.
Oh, here we go. 2007, according to the Power Rangers wiki.
I'm old. No, okay, so yeah, the very first Power Morphicon was held at a soon-to-be defunct hotel in downtown Los Angeles.
At a Motel 6.
Might as well, yeah.
It was just like five Power Ranger fans just like sharing their Megazord collections.
I call this Dragon Zord. Yes, Jack Hawkson, you're real F off, boy. Nobody likes Jack Hawkson. Anyways. Okay, so yeah, it was being held at a downtown convention. A downtown hotel in one of the large buildings in downtown. But this hotel, like less than a month after the convention ended, they had like an outdoor sale of everything that was in the hotel. So yeah, and it seemed okay when I got there. And the story's going to get a little on the sad side. I died. No, okay, I'm kidding. What happened was, Nick's in the chat. So, hey, Nick. So, thank you for the favorite on Instagram. Twitter on that one image everyone hates. But, so what happened was the very first Power Morphicon, very little people remember this, but it was actually done as a Make-A-Wish. It was started as a Make-A-Wish Foundation event. Mm-hmm. Because there was this kid who was a big fan of Power Rangers, and he wanted to, meet all the Power Rangers. And apparently some local convention people were thinking of doing a Power Ranger convention, so that, the two foundations hooked up and did this wonderful thing for the kid. Unfortunately, it's like the family was constantly being kind of bogarted by a lot of the Power Ranger fans, so that was kind of a sad little thing. And of course, that's also the convention, infamously, where the Black Ranger from Power Rangers Operation Overdrive stole one of the a banner that had all the Power Ranger signatures on it that was supposed to be given to the charity.
Oh,
Yeah,
I heard of that story. Yeah.
Yes. So, and it's funny too because he played a professional thief in the TV show. So I guess life intimidating art, or vice versa. I don't know. So, and he was supposed to be a guest this year.
No, clearly he was clearly he was trying to be the greatest method actor to ever have worked on Power Rangers.
Indeed. So, but yeah, I did enjoy the kind of not amateur feel of the convention, but it was definitely one of those conventions where, because it was in a hotel, you could just go up and say hello to any of the celebrities, and wasn't that big of a deal. And there was like no major photo ops and going on, so it was very homely, like G Fest in the old days. And yeah, it was really cool because because it was kind of just a new thing. You got to talk to a lot of the actors directly, and they were pretty friendly sorts, basically. I don't think other than one person who I'll leave nameless. It was a pretty good experience. So, but then breathe, think, Raph. But yeah, that was basically it. Then after that, Power Morphicon spun off to its own thing, and it started doing the Pasadena Convention Center as its main base of operations, which I think is sort of an upgrade, because I do like the Pasadena Convention Center a lot. That's probably one of my favorite places to go to whenever a convention is being held, whether it be Monster Palooza or other events I've attended. And I go back and forth whether or not I want to go to Power Morphicon when Mark decides to sell over there, and I think he mainly likes to just go for the environment and just to check out the place. But I remember there was one time where I kind of went in line and I decided not to go, and saved myself $75 that weekend. But yeah, that's my experience with Power Morphicon. This is your first Power Morphicon again, correct?
Yes, this is my very first time attending Power Morphicon, so it's all going to be a brand new experience for me, and I'm more than likely just not going to visit any of the not visit, but like interact with any of the guests that they have there. More than likely, I'm just going to, much like with G Fest and with Heroes Con earlier this year, I'm most likely just going to stick around our table and just, focus on selling the comics that I'll be having with me. Those being Primal Warrior Draco Azul issues 1, 2, and 3.
Awesome. So, yeah, I'm going to try to enjoy as many panels as possible. I'm debating whether or not I should film them and upload them onto this channel later. At the very least,
I don't see why not.
Yeah. At the very least, I want to get a voice actors panel on Friday night, and the Bulk and Skull No Pies Are Allowed panel that they hold every Sunday. It's called that because infamously, the actors who played Bulk and Skull, they did a pie bit in the other building of the Pasadena Convention Center area, and they permanently stained the walls. So they're
really?
So they're kind of banned from that building, and that's why the Power Morphicon was moved into the other buildings. So yeah, that's sort of the infamous thing between those two actors. So not that infamous considering some of the darker stories from Power Rangers, like although being banned from pies is pretty ridiculous. So true of Bulk and Skull. All right,
that is true. Yes.
Yes. Let's see what we got.
At least this isn't a story that doesn't involve any katanas whatsoever.
Oh. The saddest thing is, okay, the one Power Ranger actor who went to jail for murder, regardless if it was self-defense, it's so sad. I actually talked to him several times at one Power Morphicon and took a picture with him. And in retrospect, that picture is a little on the kind of ominous side. Because he's... No.
If you've ever seen him... I mean, if you ever seen him like as that one villain from Samurai, he would look very, very, very intimidating.
Mm-hmm. So, oh dear. So let's see what we got in the chat section very quickly. Oh no, it looks like Nick has Nick caught
The
something.
beer bug.
Yeah. Oh no. Sorry, Nick. I hope you do well. So yeah, I've heard it's a pain in the ass. Oh God. Oh God. All right. Sorry, and I'm getting a little. Nick, pull through. We love you, man. Okay. Let's look in the chat. Oh, great idea, Ref.
Let's see. We
Hold
have
on. Thank
Braden
you.
who says, "Interact with as little people as possible, Andres." And then he asks you, Ralph, "Have you ever taken a non-ominous photograph?"
No. Everything I do turns to terror. So. Oh God, I think this is gonna be another picture that I'm gonna finish it too early. So. Oh wells.
I mean, this would also be the perfect opportunity to do the not Draco Azul image that you've been working on.
Yeah, I might as well share that right now. So, but yeah, that's a little more complicated, and this Itasis thing is near completion. But where is it? Where are you, you son of a gun? Oh, there you are. Yeah, that's another illustration that's coming up soon. It is, as you guys know, and as I mentioned in the last KaijuNoir stream, I'm doing a series of spoof images inspired by the Pachimon cards of the 1970s. And I decided to do a monster based on Draco Azul. So this is what was the full name? I came up with it. Pachicon artist Draco Azul, but spelled DRAYKOAZOOOL. So,
Something along those lines.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is going to be the next major Pachishoma image that's going to be coming up. And as you can see, it's vaguely Draco Azul, but we added bits of Balton Alien from Ultraman. A belt from one of the Kamen Rider Shocker villains, a big old boa that's reminiscent of some of the boas worn by villains from One Piece, and the legs and knees and feet of Destroya. So, what do you think of this so far, Mr. Andres?
It's utterly terrifying.
Thank you. And he's going to be attacking the imaginary Mexican town of Acapulco. if you get that reference. So yeah, I could be working on this guy, but it's like, you know, we got a Power Ranger chat. Damn it, it's on her boobs. We got a Power Ranger chat coming up, and you know, Itasis was the only one that was really available for color. So alternatively, though, I was thinking of, let me bring this guy up. Hold on.
I love how Brain is like, you put a little too much me into that design. And JF says that the boa reminds me a lot of Doflamingo.
Oh, thank you. That's the character I was referencing when I put on the giant boa on him. So, but yeah, that boa was a son of a bitch to do the digital lines. Alternatively, I was going to finish off this illustration I was doing of the face stealer, but I think I'm going to save that for the next episode of the Kaiju art stream, and that way I can go into the marathon proper and play the episodes featuring this character. But yeah, this is my take on the face stealer from season 3 of Power Rangers, and who's, I don't know what his name was in Kaku Ranger, but yeah, he's a pretty another yokai based weirdo, but I honestly think this guy's pretty fearsome in his own right. But let's get back to the babe. So, hey, okay, so all right, and yes, Decker from Samurai, that was the actor we were thinking of. So all right, so let's get back on topic.
Oh, here we go. The Kaku Ranger version, his name is Nupe Fuhofu.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, and it's weird too, because that's the Kaku Ranger monsters are all basically more cartoonish updates on classic yokai, and he's supposed to be based on, I think, the faceless yokai, but they obviously took his design to a more extreme and making him this big bulbous monster with a huge tongue who steals people's faces instead of being a faceless creature itself. So that's, but I think it's definitely one of the more fearsome and interesting designs. Although at the same time, you can't beat living taxi driver monsters. So, Krabby Cappy. So, but no, let's get onto the subject of Power Rangers because we want the show to be more focused. So, Andres, how did you get into Power Rangers? If you're into Power Rangers.
Well, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. No. Let's see. So a long time ago, me and my brother Kyle here, who was hitchhiking down a long and lonesome road, all of a sudden there shined a shiny demon in the middle of the road.
Play me the best song in the world, or I eat your soul.
So, well, me and Kyle here, we looked at each other, and we each said,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, little man. Little demon man. And we played the best song. Okay, that's enough of that.
So let's see. So I can't exactly remember my very first memory of Power Rangers because it was definitely one of the very first television shows I'd ever watched, probably like alongside like what was the American Thomas? I was just talking to Laura and Nick about this, the American version of Thomas the Tank Engine. Don't ask why.
Shining Time Station?
Yes, Shining Time Station. So it was like Shining Time Station, Power Rangers, Pokemon, Digimon, like all the stuff from like the Saturday morning and then like pre-Saturday morning, like a early morning children's television block.
Mm-hmm.
And so like what was it? Power Rangers started in like 1993 and I was born in 92. So I was most likely, I was like too young to even start watching television at like 1 year old. So more than likely somewhere around like 94, 95 was when I started watching Power Rangers. And at that time, it was probably like season 2 or 3. But because the show was on syndication, there were always episodes of reruns of season 1 and 2, always like playing on weekdays. So at some point, I just like stumbled across it on it must have been like Channel 6 here in California. So I just grew enamored with it because Power Rangers was a series that had everything I could possibly want. It's got dinosaurs, it's got robots, it's got giant monsters.
Robots.
So, and it's got superheroes. So it's like, why wouldn't I love Power Rangers? And so it just had, it was like sort of like an encapsulation of everything I was ever passionate about. Save for trains, but even then, it wouldn't be until like Lightspeed Rescue we got our own little choo-choo Megazord there. So it's like, yes, it does have everything I love.
Have you seen ToQger?
No, I don't want to.
That's okay. No one does.
Apparently, neither Saban nor Hasbro wants to.
Yeah, in a weird alternative universe, if trains were big in America, I think we'd have gone into ToQger. So. Although I could imagine the Power Ranger version of ToQger would have to bend over backwards like they did with RPM to turn a comedy, cute Sentai into something serious. So it's the post-apocalypse. Zombies have taken over, and we have trains to save us. So, but enough.
I would definitely accept. I would definitely believe that would be a scenario out of like Disney's era of Power Rangers. Yeah, I pretty much followed Power Rangers from the Mighty Morphin days all the way until I want to say Wild Force. And at that point, I skipped over Ninja Storm, most of Ninja Storm.
Right.
And I eventually caught around to watching it on reruns. And then I came back immediately for Dino Thunder because, again, dinosaurs and Tommy Oliver was back. But then once they went to Mystic Force, then I pretty much like stopped watching Power Rangers altogether because at that point I feel like I was growing too old for it, which was unfortunate because I hear a lot of good things about later seasons like SPD, for instance, and RPM. Eventually, I did come around. This was when I was in college, so like 2012, I watched Power Rangers Samurai, and I was like, oh, this show, I could definitely tell that Samurai was trying to harken back to the Mighty Morphin days by trying to go back to that silly, campy cornball era of the series.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, yeah, this is definitely not for me. And for some godforsaken reason, I still stuck with Samurai even into the Super Samurai half season. And then I saw the first episode of Megaforce. I was like, yeah, I'm not having this. And eventually I moved to Japan. I tried watching a little bit of Sentai. We both saw the first episode of Q Ranger, and then we saw I think I saw the first 5 episodes of Ryu Soldier, which was the 4th dinosaur Sentai, and it just wasn't my thing. I could never really get into Super Sentai all that much because I just felt like the direction they were going in was just not for me. And especially like the whole toy aesthetic and even like the robots themselves, which was like the big thing that caught my attention as a kid, even they did not appeal to me at all. Or they made these robots just these like large pile of like hunks of junk where they just constantly pile more junk on top of more junk on top of more junk.
Yeah, the saddest thing in the world is a superfluous mecha. And that's how I feel a lot about Super Sentai and Power Rangers in general. It's like at some point, it's like, why the point? Why would you waste time making all these elaborate models if you're not going to do anything with them other than just to sell toys? So...
Now, in the years since I stopped watching Power Rangers, I did started watching a bit of Jew Ranger, the Sentai series that was adapted into season 1 of Power Rangers, and I really enjoyed the hell out of that series. I've been meaning to go back and finish it, but it was definitely like a lot of the fun. It was still corny. It was still like silly and over the top, but you can tell that the writers cared about telling a decent story that could appeal to like I guess you can say that shonen audience. The like young teenage like children and teenagers alike, the same kind of audience that stuff like Dragon Ball was aimed towards, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's funny you should mention that. Just a quick note. Jew Ranger, it was made as kind of a response to the success of Jetman. Because even though Jetman was very popular in the ratings and toy sales, the creators of the show, especially the stunt team and the effects artists, they were kind of disappointed, like how the giant robot fights took a backseat to all the drama. And it's like, okay, for the next show, we're just going to go crazy with visuals and giant monster fights. And, it's a kind of a good thing that Haim Saban waited for that particular series to adapt. Because as I know a lot of people love Jetman, and I've seen a handful of episodes, and it's pretty good in its own right. But it is definitely one of those Super Sentai shows where the robot shows up for 1 second, swings a sword, and boom, the monster's dead. And I don't think that would have translated too well in an American audience. Whereas Zoo Ranger, you can tell they were firing on all cylinders. Jew Rangers, thank you. Brayton, come aboard. No. They were firing on all cylinders with the stunt work and the giant monster fights too, which is a little rare for a lot of tokusatsu shows. Like, you'll either have really cool human-sized battles and really lackluster giant robot battles, or vice versa. So, but I just wanted to bring that point up.
I will say one of the a really great memory I had recently with Jew Ranger was so like Nick, Laura, and I were in a Keita Memia kick where we were watching all of the movies that and a lot of the several of the TV shows that this director/artist was a part of. And so we found out that he directed 2 episodes of Jew Ranger in particular, one being the one with the monster that would go on to be adapted into Terror Toad, and the other episode, I forgot what it was. I think it involved like a fairy or like a statue. What could it? I forgot what it was, but
a statue that becomes a giant spider.
I think so. Yeah. I think it was the spider. Yeah, it was the spider and the toad, and it was so hilarious just seeing because they tried adapting, especially the Terror Toad episode where Kimberly and Billy turned into like delinquents, and so they kind of did that. They copied that from the original Jew Ranger plot, except like these the Pink and Blue Ranger in Jew Ranger, they became like straight up murderous like Yakuza gangsters.
Yeah, it's as much as I love Jew Ranger. Yeah, it does go a little overboard with the melodramatics, and it's like especially the episodes written by what's his face, the guy behind Kamen Rider Gaim. It's like those episodes. Yeah, the characters suddenly went retarded and they're just shooting at each other. How did this happen?
No, that's not what it was. It was great. It was brilliant satire. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No. Okay. Maybe that particular episode. I'm talking about the one where I'm not going to go into detail about it. Let's move on. So.
But I remember like Laura like had the greatest like summarization in comparison when comparing Sentai to Power Rangers, and that was, she said, "I feel like we were gypped out of a better show."
Yeah, well,
this was Nick and Laura's first exposure to Super Sentai, were the Keita Memiya directed episodes of Jew Ranger.
Nice.
And
I gotta revisit
we all had
those
a great
episodes.
time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely recommend you do.
Yeah, because now that you mentioned the Teratoad in the episode with the Dora Tarantula, aka the slimy spider, or Spidertron.
I thought he was called Spidertron.
But he's also known as Slimy Spider, and I don't feel comfortable calling him Spidertron because Tron is our word. No, I'm just kidding. Because I'm from the digital world.
What do you mean, our world? Our word?
I'm from the digital world, Brayton. I'm all glowy blue. That's why I wear a trench coat.
I'm not Brayton.
Oh, damn it. Andres. Sorry, I get you two mixed up all the time. So, no, those two episodes in particular, since they are Kitamiya episodes, you can definitely see Amamiya episodes. You can definitely see the kind of better direction and horror vibe that he usually brings to a lot of his works. So, but no, it's funny you should mention. You and Laura should mention the fact that we got gypped because of Super Sentai not being properly adapted to America. I kind of have to put a little asterisk over that. Because I've seen enough Super Sentai and Power Rangers where I can comfortably say that there are certain seasons of Power Rangers that are better than their Super Sentai counterpart, and then vice versa. And then there are rare seasons where I can do without either version of the show, or both versions of the show I love equally. But yeah, it's like it's amazing with all the Japanese superhero shows that existed. It's amazing that only a pitiful handful ever came to America. So it's like, could you imagine a world where HR Puffin stuff was followed up by Brain 17 on television? It's like, oh my goodness.
I mean, there has been like quite a number of tokusatsu programming or entertainment media that has come overseas. We had Johnny Sacco.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think, was another one that we had.
Ultraman, Space.
You meant Ultraman, Ultra Sevens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned the previously mentioned Brain 17. Was Attack of the Super Monsters, which was that Eisenborg? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Eisenborg.
Yes. Yeah, but when you think about it, it's like those are like Eisenborg was a full like 30 or 30-ish episode series, whereas we only got 4 episodes and a relatively obscure videotape release.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the sad thing about Johnny Sacco and Ultraman is that towards the 80s, there were other than UFH stations and local syndication channels, those shows were becoming harder and harder to find on regular television. So, and the age of the VHS before the internet did not help matters either. Like I remember Orion Home Video released Johnny Sacco onto videotape. And I only discovered it when I stumbled into Best Buys, and it's like, is that the freaking Johnny Sacco I see before me? Oh my god! But of course,
what was it? Didn't like Ambassador Magma also came to America at one point?
Yes, as the Space Giants, and unfortunately, that show, it's as bad as the situation behind Ultraman was for a long time. The situation with the Space Giants is even worse. It's like, it got so bad. It's like, what is it? Vintage Henshin. He did a really good video about the lawless VHS Monster Zone, talking about the early days of tokusatsu on American videotape. And he goes into better detail than I ever could about the whole Space Giants not possibly never seen the light of day unless something major happens. There's a slight situation going on with Spectrum Man 2, which was one of the few tokusatsu shows in America which was given a full run, and fairly unedited too. But at the same time, yeah, that's a show where I think the situation is less about copyright limitations than it's just a lack of interest anybody wants to see that series released. But considering that we have companies like Discotech Media that's going full hard on tokusatsu releases as well as retro anime, I think the days of those shows being unavailable in America are slowly coming to an end. So, but we'll see what happens. It's like, what is it? Mill Creek, Kevin Derendorf of Mazer Patrol. He brought up a good point that all the Ultraman shows that can be easily brought to America are about to run out in less than a year with the next couple of releases. And either that means they're going to have to work something out to bring in like the more copyright unfriendly Ultraman shows like Ultra Q Dark Fantasy and Ultraman Towards the Future, or Mill Creek might actually start releasing some of Tuburaya's other tokusatsu shows. So which I wouldn't mind seeing a complete release of Eisenborg here in America. So
yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
Yeah. So damn Rich Rex.
I will say I'm glad that in the case of Discotech, it seems like they are sort of like jumping on this pseudo bandwagon with their focus on the Metal Hero side of things. They already put out, what was it, Just Beyond, and now they're doing Gavon. So, hey, if they were ever to do B Fighter, the show that ended up getting adapted into Beetleborgs, I think they could definitely make some money there.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I may have I misspoke. You're actually right. Did I say Discotech when I said that company was going to full hard with tokusatsu releases?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So, but yeah, it's funny. I grew up in the 90s. Oh.
Just go ahead.
All right, I grew up in the 90s, and it was dead as far as easily accessible tokusatsu is concerned. So, and it's so funny to hear that you were born in 1992, because in 1993, I think I just turned 11 years old, and that's when Power Rangers, really, became a big thing in America. I remember, it's like me and my brothers desperately visiting the local Toys R Us to try to find a King Sphinx figure. So, and we never did. But yeah, I remember. It's funny too, because back then, no internet, no reliable news sources talking about in any form of accuracy of upcoming television shows. So like, we caught all these weird shows coming onto the television literally by the commercial in less than a week or two before they premiered. It's like Ultraman Towards the Future. I remember we were getting ready to go to school, and all of a sudden it's like, this giant guy in red and silver spandex is fighting the Tasmanian Devil, and we were like, oh my god, we need to watch that now. But same thing with Power Rangers too. I think we were just watching normal television. It was one of the toy commercials where there was like a siren light going, and you saw tokusatsu footage of buildings being moved around through magical witch powers, and then all of a sudden there was the Power Rangers and the various monsters. And of course, being a kid who was hungry for kaiju material back in the day, Power Rangers was like an instant fix, you will, because this was like well before the Heisei Godzilla movies were ever released in America. This was well before Ultraman was readily available in any form outside like the bizarre VHS tapes that my local Blockbusters was desperately trying to get rid of. And so yeah, to have Power Rangers every day with like a brand new monster come aboard was like, like manna from heaven for a little Nshoma. Although with that says, it was a bit of a culture shock, because without any context to Super Sentai and that how deliberately silly and comical Super Sentai can be, me and my brothers were always kind of thrown into a loop. It's like, oh my god, like why would you make a kaiju called Mr. Tickle Sneezer? How does that work? So, and of course, yeah,
it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
That's just the rule of things.
Yeah, exactly. Brayton, we're never explaining Mr. Tickle Sneezer to you, okay? So, and of course, the success of Power Rangers led to that brief moment where a lot of other tokusatsu shows got reincorporated into American shows, including Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, which
did get also a release recently from I think Mill Creek as well.
Yes, it did. Unfortunately, the first volume is out of print and goes for like insane amounts of dollars. You can still get the second volume, and thankfully both volumes have a.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm thinking about Gridman, not Super.
Oh yes,
Samurai
yeah.
Cyber
Okay,
Squad.
you're right. Gridman got a release on Mill Creek.
Yeah, I think it was like Cookie Jar. I think that's the name of the company that put Samurai Cyber Squad on DVD.
Yes, you're right. Alongside Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. So give me a moment.
Finally.
Yes, that's the real show. I'm sorry, Power Rangers and Super Sentai
That's
can go to
that
hell.
ticket.
Yeah. Oh my god. So yeah, that was a show I used to watch with Gabe on weekdays because Miguel.
Why?
Gabe thought it was really cool. I thought it was neat that this was like one of the few American shows that were trying to do tokusatsu style fight scenes from scratch, as opposed to just taking it from another show. Miguel, though, he saw through the con and was like, "No, thank you. I'll stick to my Power Rangers, thank you very much." So, but yeah, that was an interesting show, I should say. It's one of those shows where, in retrospect, it's not good, but you got to respect it for doing something that no one else was doing at the time. So, sort of like the Mystic Knights of Terranog, it's like that show was not easy to produce, but bless Saban for actually trying something other than it's like Toei Productions. What leftovers you have for us? Well,
we got a little thing here called Metalder, and we got two other things here.
Nice.
So if you want to combine them together, you're free to do so. We'll give you a 3-for-1 special on stock
Cool.
footage.
What's this very old, almost early '80s show with the blue space sheriff? We can incorporate that and say it's recent, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, VR Troopers was a trip. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna say that out loud. So,
and I will say, like that original Cybertron pilot that would eventually grow into VR Troopers was certainly a trip.
mm-hmm. So with that says though, just a quick aside on VR Troopers, do you think I know that Cybertron was originally meant to be a more true to Metalder, minus the whole thing about an android, becoming the lead hero.
It was essentially a star vehicle for Jason David Frank, let's be honest.
Yeah, but no, the original...
It was a spin-off without it technically being a spin-off. They just took the actor and wanted to see if they could pitch a show with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good point. But I do know for a fact that it was going to be closer to the original Metalder, complete with a lot of Zector's various henchmen actually being people inside the battle armor. Because, in Metalder, a lot of the villains were actually human beings in high-tech cyber suits, alongside the usual monsters and robots. But they decided to go with a more comical route. Well, a slightly more lighthearted, far less faithful adaptation with VR Troopers itself. Do you think the world would have been better if Cybertron became a thing, or do you think we're okay with the insanity that was VR Troopers?
I'm pretty sure VR Troopers was the better sell in the end because, hey, more heroes means more action figures.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so, although it's sad that Hasbro is kind of, after they bought Power Rangers and some of the other Saban brands, they kind of put a kibosh on releasing Japanese tokusatsu directly connected to the Saban-related adaptations. That's one of the reasons Shout Factory is going to start releasing Super Sentai shows from before the Jew Ranger days, which is a good thing in its own right. But at the same time, I was really looking forward to that Magi Ranger release. But with that said, unfortunately, Metalder might never see an American release anytime soon, and I love that show immensely. So, but yeah,
unless Discotech decides to capitalize on that.
I hope so. So, Matt says something. Fucking Metalder dug around looking for the official word that the thing was a remake of Kaiju, which it clearly is, but Toei plays cute and denies it. Yeah, it is so obvious. Yeah, other than some of the major aesthetic changes, like having all your villains show up in the first episode, and I mean all of them, yeah, it's obvious that the show took major cues from Kaiju, but I guess Toei doesn't want to admit to it for various reasons. So
I forgot, does Toei have any official ownership or stake in the Kaiju brand?
They produced the original live action series.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they even did the Kaiju reboot movie. So, and Kaiju
Reboot also had a crossover with like the current Kamen Rider or Sentai around that time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, with one of the superhero Tyson movies, right?
I believe that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, they definitely do have some stakes in Kakaider. Although some of the other ones, like the animated spin-offs, that I think is a Shitoro Ishimori's company, and Hokkaider, Mechanical Violator Hokkaider, as awesome as dark as that movie is, a lot of people tend to forget that was made for a children's matinee triple feature. So, like, there was,
yeah. It was
yeah,
the Toei superhero fair
yeah,
with
exactly.
O Ranger and what was the other one they were with?
Blue
It
SWAT,
was
I think.
that could be it. Yeah.
Hmm.
One of the Metal Heroes, O Ranger, and Hokkaider, which is like the most insane thing you could ever show to kids. But that just goes to show that in the '90s, the kids got it. Japanese kids had it great back then.
Right, and I'll be honest, I'm a little biased. It's like I know you love Hokkaider way more than I do, but Mechanical Violator Hokkaider I think is like one of the best tokusatsu movies ever made. But yeah, getting back
Of
to
course, it is. It's
yes,
directed by the one and only Keita Memiya.
indeed. So and it's just badass. Period. So any
It's
movie.
pretty much like take Terminator and have it done in the style of Power Rangers.
Exactly. So, arguably way more action packed too, because like some of the stunts in that movie is fantastic, and as well as a lot of the gags that are thrown in, like the scene where Hokkaider just blew through a wall and he's dragging a henchman by, while he's riding the motorcycle, and the henchman calmly asks, "It's like, please spare me," and he just lets him go to be run over by his fellow henchmen. So, oh, that is such a good movie. So, but
And
yeah.
thanks, Matt, for correcting us. It was shown alongside O Ranger and B Fighter, and
Mm.
apparently it wasn't originally supposed to be at the fair, which explains a lot.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, Matt is going to be doing at least a half an hour video retrospective on Mechanical Violator Kaider, which should be coming out soon. So yeah, my mouth is watering for that one, Matt. So, oh my goodness. But yeah, getting back to Power Rangers, the weird thing was, as much as I enjoyed Power Rangers, I think Turbo is the one that kind of broke me, because at that point it's like, why am I dealing with this franchise if it just keeps getting dumber and dumber? Because just when you think things are about to improve with the success they had with Power Rangers Zeo, they suddenly go, like, they take 10 steps back with Turbo. And granted, this is Power Rangers, so it's never perfect. Even at its best, it's stupid. But with Turbo, it was like, it's like you go from Action Comics to Sesame Street in less than a second, and it's sort of too jarring. And despite the fact that I did record all of Turbo on 2 VHS tapes in SLP mode, the 6-hour mode, I should say, I think by the time I got to Power Rangers in Space, and this was the early days of Power Rangers in Space, and it was just them going back to high school instead of being the epic space adventure I thought it was going to be, I just kind of gave up there, which is sad because that's when the series started really getting good with the Neo Saban era. But yeah, with that said, I don't think I ever got back to Power Rangers until Time Force came around, and I stuck with it mostly until Disney basically put an end to it with RPM. And I gotta say, I've barely seen any episodes from the Nickelodeon era, largely because they're not.
You mean anything since 2012?
Yeah, I know I've seen a couple episodes of not Beef Morphers, Beast Morphers. But yeah, first off, Nickelodeon does not make it easy to revisit their shows, especially on their main cable station. It's like, infamously, when Power Rangers Samurai was premiered, they didn't do it with the first episode. They skipped all the way to episode 4. And they didn't.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't show the first 2 episodes until it was its own movie event, like almost 2 years later. So, or virtually 2 years later.
Didn't they like release certain episodes like exclusively on DVD instead of like properly premiering it on television?
I think you're correct. And if they did show it on television, it was long after the fact, just filler from the DVD releases. But yeah, and then of course Megaforce was like, oh my god, no. So, like, okay, I know a lot of you in the audience likes to make fun of Power Rangers, but if you've never seen Power Rangers and you just assume it's, a terrible show, arguably it's not great. It's a guilty pleasure at best. Now imagine that, but 10 times worse, and you get Megaforce. So,
So it's like it's like Megaforce is pretty much like both Samurai and Megaforce, I would say, is like Power Rangers attempting to recapture a golden period that never actually existed.
yeah, that's an excellent way to put it too. So, and not only that, but it's like because the showrunners treated it like it was a full-on kids show without any level of oh God, what is it? Respect to the audience. Even though, yeah, this is Power Rangers, it really.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, that's what I mean. Where it's like they're trying to recapture like the golden era, that lightning in a bottle moment that made the original seasons of Mighty Morphin such a success. But it's like you can't simply repeat that because times have changed, tastes have changed, standards have changed. So what 90s kids were able to whatever stupidity that 90s kids like myself were able to buy into back in the 90s isn't going to work second time around with a new generation of kids for the early 2010s.
Yeah, do you also think that it might also be an issue where, considering how relatively serious the Disney era and Neo Saban, post Zordon era of Power Rangers were, where they took some of the more darker and serious elements from Super Sentai and incorporated into the show proper? Do you think that was another reason they decided to go with a more campy preschool style with Samurai and Megaforce?
No, I want to say that it was mostly just like nostalgia baiting, pretty much. Where it's again like just Saban saying we're just going to do things the way we used to do it because if it worked back then, it's going to work again, especially when we're nearing the 20th anniversary. So we want to the franchise. We want to bring in those like old school fans as well.
Yeah, and sadly, that's still kind of happening this day. It's like, despite the wide variety of pretty cool characters and concepts that have come from Power Rangers, we still keep going back to that well with the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger days, for better or worse. I know the comic books have done some fairly decent things with the concept, but then you have something like the 2016 movie or the 2017 movie. Yeah, so
it's been 5 years now since that movie came out, half a decade old.
Yeah, 5 years is better than 8 years. So,
and what else? I just remembered now that I saw like maybe 5 episodes of Beast Morphers myself, like the first 5 episodes. It's got some interesting ideas, but it was nothing really that like captivated me or really grabbed my attention. In fact, like it was just so bland that I like completely forgot I even saw it until this very second.
that's a good point. So, with that said, though, what's your darn it? Hold on. What is of all the Power Rangers or Super Sentai you've seen, definitely more Power Rangers though, which is your favorite season or series?
Good question. Nostalgia would have me say Mighty Morphin season 1, but I know it's not the best. I think a lot of it, in terms of like the storytelling that gripped me the most as a kid, has to be like somewhere. I might have to be Time Force. I really think like time. It was either like in the vicinity of like Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, and Wild Force. Those 3 shows in particular was what really drew me in the most, where it's like, oh wow, what exactly is going to happen to these characters? That was like the feeling I got from going from week to week, getting new episodes and always wondering just like how exactly are the stories going to unfold. Whereas previously I was like, oh, how's this next fight going to unfold instead?
Yeah, the post Zordon era from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy all the way up to Wild Force, so to speak. Those were from pretty strong seasons, and Time Force is definitely one of the jewels of the Power Ranger franchise. Would there be a runner-up?
I already gave you 3, so you can pick any. Like I'd say, maybe what would I have to pick? Yeah, I'd probably say Time Force might be number 1, followed by Wild Force, followed by Lightspeed Rescue.
Right. So, okay. Just a quick. That is a good question. Like as much as I like Time Force, I've always had a big heart for SBD. I don't know why. I think even though in that series does suffer from some of the Kalish explosions and some of the bad editing problems that plagued the Disney era, I really love that group of characters. I really love the dynamic with the villains. And I really do love the world they create, because it's like it's time force, but they don't go back in time, they stay in the future. So with all the aliens and all the weird robots and all that. So and
Yeah, I really SBD, like I mentioned earlier before, SBD was really one of those seasons where I wished I still kept watching Power Rangers when it was out, but by then I had it was just not a blip on my radar at that point in time.
Yeah, no, that's totally okay. Yeah, it's like that's the problem with both Power Rangers and Super Sentai. Even if you want to get into it, that's like at least 40 episodes a season to deal with. So
It's why it's difficult to even get into stuff like Ultraman, Kamen Rider, and
Mhm.
Super Sentai, or Metal Heroes. Just a lot of people, or heck, throw in Gundam for that matter. It's no one's got time. Ain't nobody got time for all that.
Yeah, it's like, and especially like if you can binge it, the complete collection, yeah, it's no problem. But trying to watch on a week to week basis, that it does get very difficult.
I mean, like I just recently finished watching Kamen Rider Black, and I did so by
Mm.
watching like 5 episodes a day. And as much as I love the show, it is quite a struggle because these are not shows that are meant to be binged at all. These were like intentionally very formulaic TV shows
Mm-hmm.
that were made to be enjoyed once a week. You sit there, you watch the heroes do their thing, and then you wait a week, you let it settle down, and then you're by, you know, Saturday morning again, you're back for more. This is like binging is just not yeah, these shows were made in an era where binging was not a thing, and so trying to do so now with this kind of stuff would be, mind numbing to see literally the same thing happen again and again and again and again and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
It's like
funny.
I love the Megazord combination, but it's like I'm not going to sit there and watch it happen before my eyes like 10 times in a single sitting.
Yeah, if you get rid of the Megazord transformations from any episode of Power Rangers, the episodes become only 14 minutes long. Oh my god. Yeah, that is such a good point. And yeah, it's so sad too, because I try recommending Power Ranger certain seasons of Power Rangers to people I know. And yeah, there's the cheese factor you got to deal with. Ironically, I don't think they ever fought a cheese monster all these years. So, well, Mad Mike, I guess we got to count him. But the funny, yeah, I heard that small little sigh there for a moment. But yeah, that's the sad thing. Like, if they can handle the cheesiness and campiness, you still have the episode count to deal with. And it also doesn't help that, like, granted, I love that the official Power Rangers YouTube channel is making a lot of these episodes free. And Tubi Television, to their credit, they have all the Super Sentai shows that have been released by Shout Factory available for free there. So, but yeah, it is one of those situations where it's like the show might have like a great first 5 episodes, but then it gets into a rut until you get to the very end. One can make an argument about Jew Ranger there, because Jew Ranger has like an insane first 4 episodes that are a lot of fun. But then you kind of go into the redundant groove after that, and I adore the third season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but it's also a shame that you kind of have to watch season 1 and 2 just to get to the third season. So, or skip it if you feel adventurous. But yeah, that is the sad thing, unfortunately. I think that's also the reason why you and I tried to watch Kamen Rider Build, and I think we couldn't get past those first 5 episodes. I know everyone says that it
Yeah,
gets.
I mean that's the thing. It's like I try giving each show like the first five, not with the exception of Q Ranger, which I just gave up after. I just gave this show the middle finger after the first episode.
Hmm.
I try to give like 5 episodes, give each show like 5 episodes to really draw me in. If you can't do that within 2.5 hours, it's like, yeah, I'm calling it quits here.
Yeah, exactly. And the sad thing too is, arguably a lot of these shows do get a lot better as the episodes go on. But it's like Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's like you got to suffer through the first 2 seasons, And thankfully, Star Trek The Next Generation is so episodic, you can skip the first 2 seasons and just start at the 3rd season, thankfully. But then you have something like, I'm going to get the name wrong here, but please help me. KaijuNoir?
KaijuNoir.
KaijuNoir. Yeah, KaijuNoir. KaijuNoir. Ryuger.
Yes.
Yeah, KaijuNoir.
No, not
Damn it.
K. Key.
Oh, damn. KaijuNoir.
Yo.
KaijuNoir.
Yes.
Okay, KaijuNoir. Water. Get that reference. KaijuNoir.
No.
Yeah, aka Dinosaur Samba Dancing Time. That's a series where I hated the first 3 episodes because it was just too comical, too childish. And this is coming from somebody who adores Car Ranger, but that was just annoying Super Sentai levels of Kish. But then that series, like...
how can you say Kish for a series that has a line as beautiful as baseball is one of the children's most cherished sports. How dare you use it for evil?
That's the thing about that show. It honestly does get better because I don't know who the main writer was, but the character in action he starts to play with between the heroes and the villains, and the fact that he gives almost every character a moment to shine, even the auxiliary cast members, really makes that show awesome to the point where the last 20 episodes is this... last 10 episodes, I should say, is this really fantastic little mini-series that's really character-driven. And yeah, and it's so... and I can see why that series was so beloved because of the improvements in the writing from after the first few episodes. It was why the reason they gave it a official sequel series, granted, not a very good one in Korea. So, but yeah, that's the sad thing.
Was that the only ever time Korea tried their own Power Ranger series?
No, I know China definitely does a lot of their own tokusatsu shows.
I didn't bring up China.
Yeah, but
I said, was this the only time South Korea tried it?
I do know that. Yeah, that's the funny thing. South Korea does have like its own superhero shows, but I don't know if it was about Super Sentai style shows.
That's not my question, Raph. My question was, did South Korea try another official Power Ranger series after KaijuNoir?
No, just KaijuNoir. That's the best way to get to it.
Fuck you.
Yeah, so... he's back, ladies and gentlemen, the salty little Hispanic man.
Don't blame me for your failures, Raph.
It's not an easy name to say.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. You lived in Japan. You can't speak smack about me. So.
I've been able to speak Japanese since before you could spell your name.
R-A-F. Oh my God, you're right. I get that joke. That's Battlefield Earth. So,
Thanks
question.
for explaining the joke, Raph.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
We all know when you explain a joke, it's not funny anymore.
Brayton, be grateful you're not here right now. So, oh my God, that reminds me. I was going to ask you, how good do you think you'd look as one of the Battlefield Earth aliens?
I'd be the best one out there.
Okay, so now let's see how long we've been going so far. Hold on. Let me check the OBS to get a correct time. We've been going at 1 hour and 21 minutes. Do you want to go for another half an hour, or do you want to call it quits on your end if you got to go do something?
No, I'm pretty much free. What else did you have on your plate?
Well, here's a real good question for you. Since you are the Robots Master.
Robots!
Yes!
Oh!
Oh, wait. Laura brings up a good point. Wish for a new series not to have a second season of a show that would be fundamentally changed. Oh, yeah, that is a good point. So, Andres in Battlefield Earth says, Matt, I want this. I'll make a crappy bitmap picture before too long. So, actually, I'm going to be sitting next to you for most of the day at Power Morphicon. I could just draw you and then get a picture of a Battlefield Earth alien, combine them. So. Okay, So
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the line so I can say this properly. I was being trained to conquer galaxies while you were still learning how to spell your name.
okay, but you are the giant robot meister. And from all the Power Rangers and Super Sentai you've seen, what are some of your favorite Zord/Mecha?
Now, I believe at one point we tried recording a
Yes.
video of our top 5 Megazords. I'm not sure whatever happened to it. Maybe I lost the audio, or maybe we never got around to recording it, but I do remember we discussed this. And I'm actually going to see if I still have it in my notes, which I don't think I do. Let's see. Are they here? No, I guess I don't have that list anymore of my favorite Megazords. But let's see. So number one would easily be the original now. Like nowadays, it's referred to as the Dino Megazord. I feel like it is a perfect. If you're gonna make like a warrior, a very primal looking warrior made out of like armor from almost like a Viking-esque warrior made with armor built made from the hide of various prehistoric creatures, like a metal version, like a robotic version of like a Monster Hunter character.
Mm-hmm.
That would be it. And I feel like the best kinds of Megazords are the kinds where it feels less like multiple robots put together and more of a singular cohesive theme uh, for its design. So, like I mentioned, the original Megazord has that cohesive theme of a Viking-esque ancient warrior. You had the Thunder Megazord, which has that Chinese warrior aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Shogun Megazord, which looks like a giant living castle.
Mm-hmm.
With stuff like the Ninja Megazord, that's when you start to lose it, where it's like there's less of a cohesive theme and more of this is just plainly like 5 robots put together.
Mm-hmm. 5 robots with attitude.
What was the one from Lost Galaxy? There was like a red one and a blue one. I think it was like the Strato Megazord, Stratosphere Megazord.
Okay, I know that one was the blue one for sure. Hold on. Lost Galaxy Mecha Zords.
Here we go. The Strato Force Megazord. That one's a really, really good one. And again, it's made out of what was it? 5? Yeah, 5 machine parts that come together to form a singular looking robot. So yeah, the Strato Force Megazord definitely up there. So it's, I would say, the original Dino Megazord, the Strato Force Megazord. Let's see, the was it called the Astro Train Megazord from Lightspeed Rescue?
I think so.
Let's. I'd have to. Yeah, I'll throw in the Thunder Megazord I previously mentioned. Let's see. As for my 5th one, what would be a good 5th one there to put in? Let's see. You know what? Maybe I'll give it to the Time Force Megazord because it's got I always love its gimmick of just like depending on how you put the components together, it can either become the red and silver robot or a blue and silver robot. And it wouldn't be until like years later that I got into Get Robo, which had a similar gimmick of depending on how the components combine, you get a completely different Megazord. So it's like. Me now with Robo now being my favorite manga of all time, it's like, why wouldn't it just made me love looking back, love the Time Force Megazord retroactively all the more. And again, you look at the Time Force Megazord, you look at the Astro Train Megazord, you look at the Strato Force Megazord, they all have one cohesive design. Meanwhile, you look at something like the Tokyuger thing, and it just looks like, or even what was it, the Juoger Minecraft looking Megazord. It's just, here's a block a blue block on top of another, on top of a red block, on top of a yellow block, or here's a red block with a pink arm and a green arm and a pair of blue legs. It just looks boring to me. It's
Right.
unimaginative.
Would you say that that would be a big problem with Zords that, or giant robots that just seems to be a waste of space? Like a good example, the Kaiju Super Mega Force Zord, where, yeah, the idea of a transforming pirate ship and a giant pirate robot is great, but then you have all those useless vehicles that don't do anything, and then there's no need for that.
I mean, I would say like I'm not all that familiar with it. I know the Gokaiger slash Super Mega Force pirate robots.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a decent design overall. Like even if it does have the segmented color look that I'm not a fan of, it
Right.
does at least look like has that cohesive design, aesthetically at least. We know with the whole pirate theme.
Mm-hmm.
And but as for any time they add in some extra bits to it, that's when it starts to clutter up the design. A lot of how would I say, a lot of modern day Megazords, they would have a decent enough base design, but then they often clutter it up and it just looks like very unsightly in my opinion. Even
Mm-hmm.
something like the the Samurai Megazord looks okay, I would say. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you get to like the Gigazord, then it just looks like the ugliest parade float I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
speaking of the Gigazord, I know the Japanese effects artists themselves hated that thing. They thought it was so horrible.
Really.
Yeah, that it was honestly an embarrassment, and I think they tried their best to get away from it. But we still got a similar Gigazord sort concept in the follow-up series. But yeah, that's the Gigazord.
Even like
Ugh.
I would say I really did like this is a runner up because this wasn't a thing when I was thinking of my favorite Megazords back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
The Ryu Soldier slash Dino Fury Megazord looks really interesting, where it's pretty much just the T Rex already turned into a full robot, and it has like a little Lego gimmick where all the other dinosaurs can break apart and become customizable pieces of weaponry and armor to place
Mm.
anywhere all over the robot. And I think that's as like if I was a kid, I would love the shit out of that as a toy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say like that is a very interesting approach to its design. And it's like, of course, when you throw in the more and more toys that you get, it does make the whole thing look all the more chaotic, which kind of goes back to my original problem with modern day quote unquote gigazords.
Yeah, now that you mention, I think one of the big things that made the Dinozord such a big success was it's one of those designs that anyone can easily draw. It's like, what is it? The old I don't know where the term came from or the phrase, but if your design is your design is appealing when a kid can easily draw it. And I think that's
Oh, for sure, yeah.
yeah, and I
And
think
the original Megazord, whether it's Dino Meg, you call it the Dino Megazord, the first Megazord,
mhm
Daijujin. It's everyone knows it. Everyone knows, the red chest with the white zigzag teeth-like shape on the chest. Everyone
mhm
knows the mouth plate, the yellow eyes, the red horns,
mhm
the yellow crest. Everyone knows the black and yellow shoulder pads. It's like a very iconic design that like yeah, like you mentioned, it's if you can make a robot that has a very easily identifiable silhouette or something that's simple enough for it's cool enough in its complexity yet simple enough for people to instantly remember it and recognize it. That's when you know you got a good design on your hands. And it's definitely the kind of philosophy I try to approach when it came to creating both Draco Azul and Bravura.
right, because as we know, originally you wanted Draco Zolder to be a walking mass of multiple cars on top of each other, and in every garish color imaginable. Thank goodness you didn't go down that route.
And spikes just jutting out everywhere you can possibly think
Oh
of.
yeah, definitely. So, did at one point Draco Zul had like a Super Saiyan mode and like hair bigger than hell? Oh my goodness. So okay, so yeah, and there are a lot of good Zords, and you practically mentioned all of them. But I will make a point. I'm gonna share a couple of my favorites, and not too many.
Okay.
I love trains. I love the idea of trains, and even
Who doesn't
knowing,
love a good choo-choo?
yeah, exactly, and even knowing the U.S. metro system is not the best in the world, it's still fun when it's a quiet day and you're just watching everything pass by. So there's a romanticism whenever there's a train-based Zord, and even knowing like Tokuger is very questionable in many regards as far as its giant robots are concerned, and wasn't adapted to Power Rangers, so we can easily skip that one. I love the huge missile-filled military aesthetic of the Lightspeed Rescue train Zord, whose name escapes me at the moment, and I love the Mystic Force train Zord because that gold and blue aesthetic looks great. The costume is bulky but still kind of moves around in a fun sort of way, and its ability to burn monsters inside its engine is unique, if not somewhat terrifying. Um, I do love some of the more some of the better dinosaur based swords, especially when they decided to lean into the kaiju element a bit, which is probably why the Tyrannosaurus Dinozord was so cool. And I swear, like, they haven't made it official, but I swear they probably took some influence from Gorosaurus with the way that thing fought and jumped around. Of course, there's Dragon Zord. Nothing wrong with a good Godzilla reference wrapped up in godlike samurai armor. But
Mhm.
but of all the Zords, though, I think my number one favorite would have to be the Astro Megazord from Power Rangers in Space, because it's first off, like you said, it has a very appealing design. It's just a single,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just one vehicle that transforms into a giant robot, so it's not overly complicated. Granted, it's a really cool vehicle. It's basically the Star Trek Enterprise if it turned into Voltron. But even then, the robot design has like a really kind of like a subtle hint to like NASA technology and in space shuttles, especially in the
Oh
in the
yeah.
helmet. I love Blue. I think it's a beautifully painted robot. I love the additional details they put on it. It's almost like the kit bashing you see in Star Wars figures. And
Mhm.
not only that, but again, it's the Star Trek Enterprise turns into a giant robot.
Yeah, you know
So
what? I can't believe I never noticed this, but you're totally right. The Astro Megazord is pretty much the Starship Enterprise.
yeah. So and that's the great thing about it. It's like it's almost like a giant robot from a child's dream. It's like you get to travel in space in it and occasionally fight giant monsters in it. So
It's like the SD what's it called, the Super Dimensional Fortress Macross as a
yes,
Megazord.
exactly. And it's no big deal when it transforms either. It's like I love the Macross, but when that transforms, everybody's got to hang on to something. Whereas the Astro Megaship, it just comfortably transforms and boom, you're good. So, but yeah.
By the way, there's this great artist by the name of Toymaker 3D. This individual creates a lot of like 3D printable action figures for you to 3D print at home and
Mm-hmm.
put together. And he recently made a series of 3D printable unofficial Megazord figures, and one of them was the Astro Megazord. I
Oh,
just shared it in the
nice.
private chat for you to check out. It's like he did this really cool, like modernized redesign of the Astro Megazord, where you can tell he made some changes, but it still recognizably looks like the classic the classic mech.
Okay, I'm gonna actually share that in the chat section. So I'm gonna open it right now and check it out for myself. Yeah, holy shit, that is pretty decent. I like that. So,
It doesn't transform though,
mm-hmm.
but if you ever had, but it's like you pay in this case $17 to download the 3D files, and then you just have that 3D those 3D files printed, how through whatever means, and then have it put back together. This individual also recently had a Tommy Megazord where he made this customized Megazord that's a combination of the all the Zords that Tommy had as the Green and White Ranger. So it's the Dragon Zord, Tiger Zord, and Falcon Zord combined.
Mm.
And just last week, he put together a 3D printable Serpentera.
I'm like, is it size appropriate? Like 12 feet tall?
Unfortunately, no, but it is like
Oh.
twice as tall as any of the other Zords,
Okay, yeah.
Megazords that he's made.
Okay, and you just shared the link in the private chat we're using. We're using Stream. Damn, that is okay. That's even better than the actual official Serpentera toy. So
Big time, yeah. So it's like if Hasbro ever decides to make another Serpentera, they got some steep competitions. This guy really like raised the standards on what to do. This person even made a posable Jet Jaguar figure. So if you don't want to if you don't want to go out of your way to get the SH Monster Arts figure, there's a really cool posable 3D printable version of Singular Point JJ.
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sharing with you now Toymaker 3D's version of that Tommy Megazord I mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
aka Guardian Angel. And lastly, I'll share with you the Singular Point Jet Jaguar since I already brought him up.
Yes. And I will share these in the chat section with everyone. And JF says, "Damn, these are so cheap." Yes, get them now.
Yeah, but just know that you're not paying for the figure, you're paying for the 3D files
Oh,
to
yes.
then so that you are the one to print them, either whether you have a 3D printer or if your friend or someone has a 3D printer.
Mhm.
That's where you got to do the legwork in printing these parts and putting them together.
Yeah, there's the catch. So, but these are very well designed. So, despite the fact that somebody in chat said the Space Defender, the Astro Mega Ship inspired one, looks so much like a Gundam. So, why is that a bad thing?
Exactly. Yeah, you say that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah. So now, speaking of Serpentera, I love this.
Unless you're Matt.
Yes. Yeah, there is no speaking of the Demgam here.
The Gundams.
Yeah. Okay, so but no, I gotta say that Serpentera figure, the 3T printed one from Toymaker 3D, that's more true to the original costume than the kind of crappy version of Serpentera we get with the toys and the CGI recreation from Forever Red. Ugh. So
yeah, and I just shared one more link that is Toymaker 3D's take on the Dragon Zord.
Okay, so oh my god, that is more dynamic than the actual. We love the Dragon Zord, but it is not a fun. It does not look fun to walk in as a costume. So.
Speaking of Megazords, have you seen the Flame Toys redesign of both the Megazord and Dragon Zord?
No.
Are you familiar with Flame Toys?
Yeah, okay, I remember the Megazord one. It literally looks like something out of a Go Geiger anime. I've not seen the Dragon Zord redesign.
Okay, they recently revealed it just a couple weeks ago. I'm just going to send you a link to what the Flame Toys version of the Megazord looks like. And believe it or not, this is a combinable mech. This isn't like the Super Robot Chogokin version. Actually, here's a better version of that toy.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's going to cost somewhere around like $300.
Yeah.
So this is going to be one of those like really high end collectors pieces.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, let me save I tasked this here. Sorry for the little ding there. I'm actually going to share these images on the stream itself because these look very, very impressive. Let me just save the pictures before I can open them in the Photoshop. Sure.
And here, there's no colored version of their Dragon Zord, but this is what the prototype looks like, along with an illustration, which I will share as well.
Okay. Oh, that is just a little. That's wonderfully ridiculous. The Dragon Zord. That's like a talented teenager's take on a Dragon Zord. Okay. Let me open the last one. Just to let you know, we're gonna. This is probably the only images I'm gonna go out of my way to share on the main screen itself. So.
Oh yeah, because they're like brand new. They haven't come out yet, but they're definitely been generating hype. The only stipulation that I have for this product is that so Flame Toys usually does a lot of non-transforming robot figures, usually of Transformer characters. So they'll have a non-transforming Optimus Prime or a non-transforming Star Saber. But in the case of Victory Saber, they created Victory Leo and Star Saber, and you can combine them to make Victory Saber, and unfortunately the thing was just like so back heavy, it literally could not stand without stand up straight without one of those stands to prop the whole thing up.
Oh my goodness.
So that was their only time, and it was a really great design. So it was like a real shame for anybody who spent like $500 on like both figures only to have yourself a giant combiner that doesn't stand, that can't stand up.
So just like the Macross toys from the 80s.
Hey, one of those Macross toys ended up becoming Jetfire for Transformers, and that's a damn good toy.
Yeah,
I've actually had the privilege to see it in person.
Until it exploded. Just like the real Jetfire. So, I'm sorry, kid, I died on you. Jetfire, no! So, but yeah, no, that is a generally impressive looking figure, so... Maybe it's a good thing they broke ties with Bandai. Yeah.
But so this is their second attempt at a combining robot toy. So I'm really hoping that they learn from their Victory Saber fiasco and and hopefully they'll have themselves a Megazord that can stand up without any assistance.
Right. I'm gonna feature that dud of an oversized toy in the chat section. But like I said, I will go out of my way to share these gorgeous looking ones on the main screen itself right now. Yeah, that is.
And Doomzilla. I too hope the stability for the Flame Toys Megazord will be much better.
Yes, I love. Looking at this version of the Dragon Zord, I love how they made him more elegant, and that he.
Yeah, it's a very like slimmed down looking redesign.
Yeah, it's like this feels like a realistic robot that could actually exist. Even my problems with American robot designs with like the weak shoulders and huge gaps in the neck, it doesn't affect this one that much. It generally looks that appealing. So
also keep in mind that this thing is still going to have to combine with the Flame Toys Megazord.
Oh my goodness. So I love what they did with the tail too. It's like that's industrial strength drill tail right there, my friend. So it even has a bit of an origami look similar to the Power Ranger Samurai Zords. So
true, yeah.
You're right.
I was kind of disappointed with the what they call the Zap Megazord, because apparently from what I hear, the Zap Megazord isn't all that great in terms of build quality. The plastic is very lightweight, very cheap, and I've heard like some of the joints have already started breaking on some people's copies of the Hasbro's high-end new Megazord. So, and having seen the new Zap version of their Dragon Zord, the Dragon Zord doesn't look all that different from like the legacy Dragon Zord. So seeing this new radical take on the Dragon Zord with a more posable, more flexible looking design, it's like, yeah, I think this is like I'm sure a lot of people have been asking for a more posable version of the Dragon Zord.
Yeah, I just realized something looking at the unpainted Dragon Zord here. It you know how like the original Jew Ranger version of the Dragon Zord, that was basically Heisei Godzilla in samurai armor. This looks like that manga where Godzilla's an alien warrior with a sword. If that was the mecha version of that, yeah. So and I love
see that.
Yes, I love the oversized hands too. That's a nice touch. So it doesn't feel as like I love Dragon Zord, but there's elements of that costume that's really unappealing. So it's more the proportions, but yeah, those tiny little monster hands. And then when they cut to the missiles launching, all of a sudden it's like an unrealistic giant prop hand that doesn't match at all. So, but yeah, these are
or kind of like whenever in Mighty Morphin, anytime the Megazord would go over to grab his power sword, it's just like a silver glove.
I know. So, oh my goodness. So yeah, some of those costumes do not look comfortable. So, but yeah, I'm gonna close these up. Okay, but yeah, and I'll give credit to some of the evil Zords, because despite how depowered Serpentera became in later appearances, its first appearance was really mind-blowing, especially for a little kid who wasn't used to like the super-sized, big-ass giant monster robots. We're talking Macross level monstrosities here. But also, I will give big credit to Cyclopsis the Warzord.
I didn't know Matt was a giant transforming robot.
That's why we've never seen him and Soundwave in the same place before. So that's the only Transformer I can think of off the top of my head. So. But no, and then of course I'll give credit to Cyclopsis the War Zord, because even knowing that evil Zords are like old hat right now and a lot of them aren't that impressive, Cyclopsis had a really great design that really looked like an 80s anime robot monster come to physical life. So and of course I love anything that's a reference to Talos, whether they kept that in Power Rangers or not. So, but yeah, that's as far as the Zords talk go. Before we kind of start to end the night, so to speak, because I don't want this to go on more than 2 hours, if not 2 hours and a half. Okay, what's your favorite villain or monster? And then I'll follow up with the final question.
Favorite villain, it'll probably have to be Mesogog. Favorite monster, that's a tough one, because I rarely think about the monsters.
That's totally, no one does. I'm probably the only one who does.
Yeah.
Here I am drawing a Cassis, damn it.
Let's see, trying to think, what is a cool standout monster from all of Power Rangers? Well, I know the most nostalgic one for me is probably, I think his name was King Sphinx from Mighty Morphin. And that was because he appeared in the most merchandise in the Mighty Morphin line. I know there were toys, and there were like picture books. There were what else? I know the VHS release of his standalone episode. I think like King Sphinx, for whatever reason, was always the monster that I ended up encountering the most growing up.
Oh, sorry about that. There's a motorcycle thing going on outside. I'll be right back.
It's okay. Go kick Kamen Rider's ass. Let's see. Power Ranger monsters. Gonna have to look up just like a quick Google search to see if there's like any random monster that I remember back then that I was like, oh yeah, that was really cool. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is more like on the Japanese side of things. Maybe Dora Franken. I think that was a really cool idea to have like Dora Franken be this like constantly changing monster, a bit like Destroya, in a way where it's like he's defeated and he comes back looking all gross and like sinewy muscles everywhere. And then like he combines with Satan and like he just transforms even into a more horrific nightmarish abomination. So yeah, maybe he might be the one that really captured my attention as someone who was like getting into Super Sentai back in college, I want to say.
Okay, one of my neighbors is doing lawn work this late at night. I don't know why.
I mean, you do live in LA, right?
There's crazy people down here.
Exactly my point.
Yeah, exactly. Don't come here, Andres. Forget Power Morphicon. I'll burn the place down for you. Okay.
But I did bring thinking about it, and I think maybe like Dora Franken and like his zombie Franken and like Satan Franken forms, I think is like a really cool and disturbing like idea and concept. So maybe I might be leaning more towards him.
The great thing about Dora Franken is that he's one of those Super Sentai monsters who's while he's technically a monster of the week, he stays for multiple episodes, giving him a bigger impression than most monsters. So yeah, he's definitely a cool one.
Yeah, 4 episodes actually.
Yes, exactly.
It was 28 through 31, I think.
Yeah. So and getting back to King Sphinx, yeah, it's a sad story that when they originally started Power Rangers, they actually wanted some of the monsters to make multiple reappearances, and King Sphinx was going to be one of them because they really liked the 2-parter from the original Jew Ranger, where they gave him a human form and he was a little more of his own supervillain.
And he was like giving quizzes to little children, and if they got the quiz wrong, he would stick the kids in trees that were about to be cut down by like construction crews. So if the trees are cut down, those kids are gone forever.
Exactly. So unfortunately, by the time they started filming Power Rangers, the King Sphinx costume was long destroyed or recycled into another monster, and those plans were scrapped. And that tends to be sadly the case with a lot of Power Ranger productions. They wanted to bring back certain characters, but either the costume wasn't available or the costumes they did have were in such poor disarray that it was just better to go on with new characters. That's why the plans for Lord Zed, Rita, Goldar, and Rito coming back in Turbo never happened because at that point those costumes were not in the best shape. And they felt, we spent too much money on Elgar with the Kyoto brothers' talents. So, yeah, let's just stick to Divatox and her crew. So, yeah. All right, I'm not going to mention who my favorite monsters are because we're going to be here all day. And also, I've been drawing Itasis, and she's definitely among the top favorite. But as far as villains go, I'll give big credit to Ecliptor from Lost in Space. Because he was first off, he had a great design. You know, that whole green grid over black armor metal look. You know, like sort of like a Tron version of a Black Knight is the best way I can describe him. And he was a revelation as far as a character went, because before then we never had an honorable anti-hero / honorable villain before. So yeah, so much so that what eventually happened to Ecliptor just makes it all the more sad. So. Really, I think when that Z-Wave hit, he should have, I don't know, he should have survived somehow. So, because even as a scary cyborg, he still loved Astromina as a surrogate daughter. So, although there is this theory I want to share where I think Ecliptor, he did die during the Z-Wave, but I think a lot of the good energy that was in him got transferred into Astronema / Corone, and that's why she ended up surviving in the end. So that's just my little theory, though. So, and from what I hear, they are thinking of bringing back Ecliptor in the Power Ranger comics. So, you know, now here's the big question, though: favorite Ranger?
Oh, okay. So let's see. I think I've always really enjoyed the Magna Defender, I'd say. I know Dylan and I both really love that character, and I always liked that was more like my favorite plot line from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, where you have like the main character, his brother dies, but apparently he was possessed by the spirit of the Magna Defender, and then like using his body, he's trying to get revenge on the death of his son, and like by the time he eventually passes away, he lets the Red Ranger's brother survive, and so the brother becomes the new permanent Magna Defender. And plus his design just fucking rocks. It's like much like how everyone loved the Green Ranger because his design was so much more unique compared to everyone else. I always thought that the Magna Defender looked really cool with its giant shoulder pads, his sword, his European armor, his cape, the fact that he transforms into an Ultraman-style giant hero who then combines with his Toro Zord to become a giant robot himself. It's like when you have a Ranger who can become a giant robot, you know, Mystic Force style, it's like you have me sold right fucking there.
And not only about the other great thing about the Magna Defender, he's basically giant space Viking Clint Eastwood. Especially that great episode where he fights against a fat catfish, that, you know, evil pirate who was one of the monsters responsible for the direct murder of his son. And when the monster attempts to take another kid hostage, he basically goes apeshit, and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna fall for this one, and endangers the kid while wanting to shoot fat catfish. So, oh my god. So, oh, and by the way, like the Magna Defender episodes were brought together as like a single direct-to-video movie or compilation, I should say. Nice. And I have it somewhere. If I can find it, I'll try to bring it over for the weekend. But yeah, it's a great collection of episodes. Yeah. Yeah. So.
By the way, earlier before when you mentioned Ecliptor as your favorite monster, are you aware that there is? Are you familiar with the Power Rangers Lightning Collection?
Yes, yeah, I know. I don't collect toys, but if I see a decent price on Ecliptor, I might make an exception for that. So
I just shared with you a link of a 2-pack with Ecliptor with Astronema.
Oh, okay, that's father and daughter. Why not? So
I think they did that because it's like maybe they thought not as many people would buy Ecliptor unless they include him with the main villain, pseudo main villain of In Space.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But Grant, like, no offense to a lot of Power Ranger fans, but like they really don't know. It's like a strong.
They don't know jack shit.
Sure, we'll say that. So. Okay, I'm not going to share this link. This is not an easy file to download for various reasons. But yeah, that looks great. So yeah, and again, Ecliptor has a really good design. So okay, as far as it's funny, there's a lot of good Rangers, but I was actually thinking about this question before I was going to bring it up with you earlier today. And it's funny, the only Power Ranger that really left a major impression on me, and is the one character who, if I was in a situation where I had to summon an army of heroes and I'd have to pick one Power Ranger, and also I think she's just very unique in the whole history of Power Rangers. I'd have to pick Jen from Time Force. Because first off, she's a badass. She has a very compelling character arc and story. The actress does a great job with the character, and not only that, but she definitely is significant in Power Ranger history because she's the first time the Pink Ranger was more or less the de facto leader of the team. So yeah, so that I picked Jen. But yeah, there's tons of other really great Power Ranger characters out there. Even if their seasons suck, you're bound to find a good character here and there. It's like I'm not a big fan of Power Rangers Ninja Storm, but Cam, the Green Ranger, he's definitely he's one of those characters who's too good for the series he's in, especially with his very, very dry, acerbic wit. And the fact, I think I was listening to a Power Ranger podcast and they perfectly described him as the embittered IT guy who has to work with all these idiots. So, but no, I would definitely pick Jen. She's a really awesome badass. She has great arch rival chemistry with Vernon Wells as Rancic. And her kind of bittersweet romance with the Red Ranger from that Wes was very good too. So but yeah, that's basically it. So I think we're good. Do you want to see if we can try to get some questions from the audience, or you think we should just call it
sure.
Okay.
No, I think we can pick up some questions from the audience if they have any.
Yeah, if you have any questions, now's the time to do it, ladies and gentlemen, because
Speak or forever hold your peace.
Damn right. So yeah, we'll give it another 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll call it a night, because that's one of the things I want to do with the Kaiju art stream, is try to keep these things relatively short and watchable. So I will say ahead of time, though, thank you for joining me for tonight, because, yeah, I can ramble on about giant monsters all day, but to actually have a co-host and somebody who knows their stuff, as opposed, like, no offense, Brayton, but every time we bring you aboard, you're like, no, not Super Monster again, make it go away. So he really doesn't like Gamma Super Monster, by the way.
No,
I don't either.
Someone doesn't like Super Monster? Get out of here.
Oh my god.
How dare someone not like Attack of the Super Monsters?
Oh no, Gamma Super Monsters. We like Attack of the Super Monsters. Oh my goodness. One more quick question from you though. What would you like to see from Power Rangers going forward? Like, what would you think would...
good writing?
Okay, there we go. And
okay,
good night, ladies and gentlemen.
So here's the thing, anytime someone tries to bring up the concept of, when I say serious Power Rangers, I don't mean it like, I want it dark and gritty. No, that's not what I want at all. Mm-hmm. What I want is for it to tell a story, like a compelling story, on the level of, say, dare I say, even Avatar. Heck, I'll take Legend of Korra. I know people don't like Legend of Korra, but that level of writing is like leagues above anything Power Rangers has done.
Yeah.
Or heck, the first 2 seasons of Voltron, Legendary Defender. I'm just saying, children's entertainment heck, Young Justice seasons 1 and 2. I haven't seen any of the HBO Max stuff because I don't own HBO Max.
But that's okay. HBO Max just canceled HBO Max, so.
so it's like, we've, over the last 2 decades, we've had a number of series that focused on action, that focused on superheroes. Oh, Symbiotic Titan. I want some Power Rangers. SSSS Dynazenon and Gridman. Mm-hmm. We've had plenty of TV shows that are about action, that are about giant robots, that are about giant monsters, that are about freaking superheroes, that have all been, very well received by fans and non-fans alike. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking, in a world where stuff like Dynazenon and Avatar and Young Justice exist, why the fuck has Power Rangers not stepped up their game. Now, in no way am I saying I want Power Rangers made for me, because what I want is for Power Rangers to be a thing that can be, one, really enticing to people out there, to the kids out there, because they're the primary demographic. But I also, think that they could easily have an appeal to people of all ages. I mean, heck, that's something like, look at Justice League. The entire DC animated universe was stuff that was aimed at children, but could appeal to everybody, especially adults. So I'm thinking that Power Rangers could easily have that level of appeal, and yet they never do so. It always felt like they always go for like the bare minimum of storytelling and just let all the action figure fights, speak for itself.
Yeah.
So if anything, I want them to have something on the level of that.
Yeah.
Heck, Transformers. Transformers Prime is another great example. Transformers Animated, Beast Machines are all great examples of great modern day action shows about giant robots.
Right.
So again, that begs a question: what is if these franchises can have really legit, not just good shows, great shows, great action on top of great storytelling. If they can do so, what's keeping Power Rangers from attaining those heights?
Yeah, and it's net, since you mentioned it, Dynazeon. I ain't gonna say the SSSS, so I missed an S. It's like we've mentioned in the past.
Just did.
Yeah, damn it. We've mentioned in the past that Dynazeon is the best season of Power Rangers that Power Rangers never had. Because I think that one perfectly captures like serious stakes and drama, along with like great character beats and a general level of fun too. So maybe too much as far as the relationship between the villains and the heroes go, but that's a small argument. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think Power Rangers does need to kind of grow up a little bit. But at the same time, though, I really, really hope that in the future we don't get more overtly serious Rangers like you mentioned, because the 2017 movie, that did not work out at all. It's like trying to do angsty Rangers and still try to throw in the giant color-coded robots at the end, which is very jarring even by a story sense. And I again, no offense.
Hi, Power Rangers 2017.
Yes. And no offense to Power Ranger fans, but then of course there was that infamous fan film, supposed spoof called Power/Rangers, where it's supposed to be a comedy take, and then it's like all the Power Ranger fans are like, yeah, I want more of this, please. So, oh my goodness. So, so yeah.
I thought Power/Rangers worked as a fun standalone what if thing, but I certainly wouldn't want anything like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
I think Matt in the chat has a great comment. He said great storytelling is a level that isn't needed when piss poor quality can pass most any mainstream media. I wish it wasn't so, but yeah. Monsterverse. Yeah. Oh, sorry. What was that?
I think you coughed. It sounded something like Monsterverse. Cough, cough. Monsterverse. Okay, so let's see. I think we do...
What? No. What? Nah.
Remember, Andres, when Hong Kong was obliterated, only 4 people got hurt. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see what kind of quick questions we got here. Okay, Doomzilla. Let's start with Doomzilla. Which Power Ranger season or show do you think holds up as one of your favorites? A lot of the post-Zordon era shows still hold up beautifully, and like
Time Force.
Yes, Time Force holds up incredibly well. Even its filler episodes are not that annoying or overbearing. Great cast, especially with Vernon Wells as Ransik. It's like, actually a lot of the side characters, they got really good actors for that. Like Wes's father. It's like, holy shit, where did they get?
I remember. Yeah, all of that stuff with him.
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, and it's like his brief confrontation with Ransik in the lab that was on fire is great, because it's like, this is too good for Power Rangers. This little 2-minute acting sequence. So, personally though, I still have a lot of I do fully agree with you. Time Force, Lightspeed Rescue, and what was the third one? Was it Lost Galaxy or Wild Force?
Of what?
Of the three series around Lightspeed Rescue and Time Force, that was really good.
And Wild Force, I'd say.
Wild Force, yeah, yeah. Those series hold up pretty well. I still have a lot of love for SPD, and I'm glad. And even knowing that the first batch of episodes they uploaded on their official YouTube channel suffered from some timing issues with the upload. Thankfully they fixed that. But yeah, they're now making episodes of Power Ranger SPD officially free on YouTube, on the official Power Ranger channel. So I'm really happy revisiting that. For you, Andres, even though you haven't seen these shows in a while, which ones hold up? You already said Time Force, so there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't had the time to actually revisit a lot of Power Ranger shows, so I can't answer that.
Yeah, so JF asks, this isn't Power Ranger related, but we'll make this quick. What's your thoughts on Ultraman Season 2? I think he's talking about the anime on Netflix.
I unfortunately haven't gotten around to seeing it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, so. Okay. Goji says mine's not Power Ranger related, but earlier, Raph, you said you've always liked trains. Did you ever watch much of Thomas the Tank Engine? Yeah, I think Thomas the Tank Engine was one of those shows I would watch with littler kids when I was like, being asked to look after them, and especially Gabe, when Gabe was a little kid. He's our youngest brother. But even then, and I think I was like maybe around 9 or 10 when this happened, I actually enjoyed the Thomas Tank Engine show because the model work with the Thomas sections were just so well done. It was just practical effects porn as far as I was concerned, for lack of a better term. It's like, oh my god, look how beautiful those model work is done. And it does kind of like, it does sadden me that the current iteration of Thomas the Tank Engine no longer relies on model work at all. It's all CGI. And it's like we really did kind of miss something there. But yeah, for the practical effects alone, I did enjoy watching Thomas the Tank Engine with my brothers. So, what's your opinion of Thomas the Tank Engine, Andres?
I love it.
Okay. All right. JF says, what's your thoughts on the Boom Studio comics?
I love them. I've read the first volume of the ongoing series, and I read all of Shattered Grid, and I thoroughly loved both of them. I like the attention to, again, this is what I want basically out of Power Rangers, just a focus on the interpersonal drama, the focus on the relationship between the characters themselves, getting the chance to take a look at details that the TV shows always tended to gloss over, just something to really like a good narrative to really sink my teeth into.
Good point. From what little I've seen of the Boom Studio comics, I do agree with a lot you say. And I do love that they sometimes will go outside of the comfort zone of Mighty Morphin Power Ranger related characters to incorporate other characters that we don't see very often in Power Rangers interacting with each other. I know recently they did a storyline where I think it was Zach, Jason, and Trini faced against an evil time force that allowed various villains from future seasons to come and fight them. And that's a really cool crossover.
What were they called? The Omega Rangers?
Yes, the Omega Rangers.
I thought that was a really brilliant move where they explained that they never went to a peace conference. That was actually a front to Zordon and the rest of the Rangers. They actually went off and became Rangers, like covert op Rangers themselves, under the leadership of a former Ranger that used to work for Zordon but no longer agrees with his let's wait until the villains strike first method.
Right. Yeah, that with that says though, I will say this though, it's both a praise and a criticism of the Boom Studio comics. They do at times come off like fan fiction, for both better and worse. It's like they can have like really awesome elements like the Omega Ranger, but then followed up with something a little suspect and stupid, like the Psycho Rangers secretly being humans this entire time. So instead of the monsters with Power Ranger powers, that I thought was more intriguing. So, but yeah, and also thanks to the Boom Studio Comics, we got that awesome crossover with the Justice League. So, and Giant
Oh
Alpha
yeah,
5.
that's sorry, that's the third thing I've read
Mm-hmm.
of the Boom era of Power Ranger comics.
Right. So yeah, we like the Boom.
Here
Okay.
comes the Boom.
Yes. Brayton Zordon would be a Maltese Falcon Zord. Yes, Laura, we fully agree. And Brayton actually agrees with Laura. Hell yes. So, JF says, how would you feel if they made a crossover between Transformers, Armada, and Gundam Seed? That's Andres going away in his car.
Fine, whatever. Yeah, I've never watched Seed. I've been meaning to, so I have no opinion whatsoever.
Is it okay? Okay, isn't Seed supposed to be one of the worst seasons based on reputation? There's the Gundam police coming for me.
No, that's the sequel, Seed Destiny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How dare you criticize Seed that way?
I'm more of a G Gundam A turn A myself. So. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Gundam 00 is pretty good too. Right? Doomzilla says he really he really enjoyed Dynazeon. So okay. Brayton, but don't you think that Vergus is a little close to wanting Power Rangers to age with you though? Has anything ever been sophisticated as Avatar or Ferngully? I don't know what that means.
Okay. Not that Avatar, you idiot.
Yeah. Why are we friends with you? You're such a nerd. Not like us. We're cool people. So.
Anyways, I guess this will be the last question here.
Okay.
Goji Say said, have either of you guys read much of the Godzilla versus Power Rangers comic series? I have not, mainly due to an indifference or like a general... what's it, like a general apathy to modern Godzilla comics. Like, if this came out around the time I was reading the IDW Godzilla stuff, like way back in, like, when did they start? 2011. I'd be like hyped as hell because like Godzilla versus Power Rangers, that's like the crossover I've been dying to see since I was a little kid. But now at this point, I've gotten so burnt out on a lot of modern Godzilla stuff, especially the comics, that I don't know. I kind of been like burned out on Godzilla content that I feel I don't get that excitement. I like, again, if this was like 10 years ago, I'd be like super hyped and on board for this. But for whatever reason, I just can't get myself hyped up for Godzilla versus Power Rangers, especially when you know that this is going to go down the route of every other generic generic crossover story we get where the characters fight, but we're never going to get an actual victor out of it. And yeah, at least when it came to Justice League versus Power Rangers, the part about them fighting actually served a tiny portion of the whole story, and most of it was like the genuinely intriguing interactions between all the Justice League members and all of the Power Rangers.
Oh yeah.
But here it's like I hear people being like, OMG, Godzilla fights the Dragon Zord and he beats up the Dragon Zord. It's like, yeah, okay, but where's the story?
Yeah.
Who cares about story? It's Godzilla fighting the Megazord. This is the same stuff why I did not care all that much for Godzilla vs. Kong. Sure, the fighting is interesting, but it's like you can't tell a story on just fighting alone.
Yeah, especially when only 4 people get hurt in Hong Kong after it blew up. Oh god.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. I don't own any of the comics that were released in this miniseries. I've been checking them out through other means, wink wink, nudge nudge. But yeah, you're right. It's like even knowing that I'm happy that Toho is openly allowing more Godzilla crossovers in America, and I hope we get something more interesting and significant in the future. This comic book is, it's definitely just a fight. They fight comic, and it's, and not only that, but the art style is a little hard to get used to. This is like muscles upon muscles upon muscles. So it's like I don't even think there's no real decent background in the whole thing. It's just destroyed buildings upon destroyed buildings upon destroyed buildings. But yeah, here's the thing though. I'm still gonna get when it comes out in a trade paperback. I still plan on getting it just because, first off for
Yeah,
posterity's sake.
that's I want to read it as well.
Yeah, and also I hate to say it, these goddamn Godzilla ID. Even if you weren't burnt out, the problem that these things go out of print so quickly after they're published makes it a pain in the ass to get into the IDW Godzilla comics. So I definitely want to pick up the trade paperback before that happens again. So and yeah, and not only that, but I do agree with you. Like even though we got some really good miniseries here and there, like Godzilla in Hell and Gangsters and Goliaths, some of the recent miniseries have been pretty ho hum, for the lack of a better term. So yeah, I can see why you're burned out on them. So, and not only
I
that, but
mean, I'm hearing like nothing. Like nobody is talking about any of the recent Godzilla stuff. Like even like what's the newest stuff going on right now? Godzilla Rivals. Who's talking about Godzilla Rivals? If
nobody.
I genuinely want to know. It's like, is anyone actually reading the modern day Godzilla stuff? Because I don't hear anybody talking about them.
Yeah, Brayton was a big fan of it, but then I realized that's not Brayton. That's just a cardboard cutout. So, that was a terrible joke. Welcome back to my show, Andres. Are you happy? This is the part where you go, no. Are you still there?
No.
Okay, all right. Eeyore, I didn't know you're here. So, okay.
Oh hell.
Right. So, yeah, those are some generally
Better
good.
transform and roll out.
Oh, bother, says
Right,
Megatron.
wrong Peter Cullen performance.
That's right. Okay, so but yeah, I'll wait to get the trade paperback, but yeah, it is a very simplistic crossover. And yeah, going back to the Justice League versus Power Rangers comic, that one had some really good, like you said, really good character interactions. The whole subplot about Zack feeling like a failure because he wasn't able to stop Lord Zed in time, and Batman having to comfort him and let hey kid, it happens to the best of us. That's a really good element right there. So, oh, Laura brings up a really good point though. Gangsters and Goliaths would have been better if Godzilla had a Tommy gun, hat, and cigars. Do you agree, Andres?
Yes,
Okay,
always.
all right. But with that says, let me check how long we've been going. An hour, 2 hours and 19 minutes. I think this is a good time to call it. Any last things you want to let me bring up the card on screen again so you can shill away. And also in the description for this YouTube video, I put a link to your Amazon page where all your books are available. But go ahead and chill and explain Power Morphicon upcoming.
Sure, yes. So, as we've mentioned before, I will be at Power Morphicon this weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with Ralph and our mutual friend Mark, the Crimson Roommate, where Mark and I will specifically be selling our assortment of products there at our table. And which point you will find me selling issues 1, 2, and 3 of Primal Warrior Dracozool, as well as my limited series of Chibi Dracozool keychains. So if you ever want to meet me in person, or you want to check out the Dracozool series yourself, and you happen to be attending Power Morphicon, now's your chance to do so in just a few short days.
Mm-hmm. So then remember, it's only Andres and Mark that's selling stuff. I'm pretty much there just as a third wheel to their wonderful little selling table. So, but I'm not selling anything. But if you want to say hello, I'll try my best to be socially acceptable. Okay, so, but no, Andres, thank you very much for showing up tonight. It definitely made the show a lot better. And before we close out, let me give a proper description of what this character I'm drawing right now. Tassis was a villain turned hero from Power Rangers Mystic Force, and she was a part of the 10 Terrors, who were a group of naturally giant-born, fantasy-based villains. Unlike her fellow 10 Terrors, however, she was very honorable and wise, and probably one of the reasons why she ultimately decided to join the good guys' side. She has a very similar character arc in Magi Ranger, the Japanese version. So she's sort of a consistent character throughout both versions. But I definitely love her design. She's... Oh, hold on. She's just like the whole thing. The Sphinx by the way of a librarian is a very cool thing. Plus with an occasional giant lion cannon arm. So, but yeah, I really do like this character a lot. And not just for the obvious reasons. This isn't an Icy Angel situation again, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I'm very happy that I was able to get this illustration ready for tonight. All these line work I did this morning, so... but yeah, that's all I wanted to say about the picture because we didn't really talk about it beforehand. Unfortunately, she's definitely one of those Power Ranger villains that gets overlooked easily, and I can understand. There's better villains out there with more screen time and personality and story-related development. But that's basically it. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you, Andres, this weekend. And thank you everyone who showed up in the chat section. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to close this out with some music as usual. You can guess what it's going to be. And that's basically it. Andres, you have any last things you want to say?
For anyone who is also interested in the rest of my stuff, you can always follow me on Facebook at the Primal Warrior Draco Azul page. You can follow me on Instagram at KaijuNoir. Follow me on Twitter at PW_Draco Azul. And finally, for all my YouTube content at KaijuNoir, where I recently put out a review for the new Dragon Ball film, Dragon Ball Superhero, and look forward to listening to Nick, Laura, and I talk about Gundam as we review the 6-episode OVA series, Gundam: The Origin. And lastly, I have, like I mentioned before at the very start, I have a new novel that I co-wrote with Matthew Denian, that being Atomic Rex Ballad of Bravura from Severed Press, which is available on Kindle and paperback over on Amazon. It's the 5th installment in the Atomic Rex series, but I feel like it works as a great standalone crossover story. Basically, it's like Godzilla versus Gundam in a post-apocalyptic Mad Max-esque setting. So if that sounds exciting to you, definitely check it out. A friend of mine, Earth Baragon, plans to do a video review of the novel
Nice.
as he just read it, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say about it.
Knowing him, he's probably going to go out of his way to do some artwork of your characters for the title card. So, which is a good thing.
We shall see about that.
Okay. That's just Miss Blue in a Draco Azul costume. Hey! Okay. Oh, my cat Fluffy's inside. Hey, don't worry, Fluffy. I'll feed you soon. So, all right. Thank you so much again, everybody. I'm just going to call it quits. I am going to play some music on the way out, but I think it's very fitting for tonight. But thank you, everybody. Andres, do you need to get going, or do you want to talk after the show?
Well, I have to let you know that KaijuNoir has no set schedule.
But I need it now! What's your thoughts on VR Trooper Season 4?
It'll be done when it's done. Now subscribe to my Patreon.
Okay, I'll catch you after the show, but the music I'm going to play is going to be 5 minutes, but it's worth it because it's one of the best things Power Rangers I've ever done musically, in my opinion. So, all right, so with that said...
Is it the Go Green Ranger Go theme?
No, it's the orchestral version of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie theme song.
Cool.
Yes. I didn't know where that pause was going to go. It was either going to go good or bad, and it went good. So, all right, thank you everyone for joining us. Next week, I'm going to either finish up a Tassus here, we're going to do Face Stealer, and then I'll follow it up with an honest to goodness movie marathon on Twitch at a much earlier time than what we're going on tonight. But thank you, Doomzilla, Brayton, Shay, JF, Laura, Nick, Heath Invader,
Matt
Doom, and the Egyptian sounding guy. Damn it, what's his name? I forgot his name. Darn
Ramsey.
Ramsey, thank you. Ramsey, the King Sphinx himself. So yeah, thank you all for joining, and also thank you to anybody watching this in the future. I know I always get a lot of people who like to revisit these, watch these streams for the first time after they uploaded the day after. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, and Andres, I'll either catch you later or I'll talk to you tomorrow.
for sure.
Okay, so I'm going to mute things for a little while and play out the music. So good night, everybody, and thank you so much for arriving.